What would the world be like if there was no resellers? Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. Welcome, we're headed to the cabin. I've got some great topics today and some great sales, which, you know what, I'm also glad Jess is here today working on some live shows, because I've been focusing on eBay the last few days, because a couple days ago, if you remember the last video, we had like 2 sales by like 6 o'clock and it wasn't going very well. I'm like, all right, we had to put a little elbow grease into this, and we got a bunch of sales. They were low dollar, and then we started to get some better ones coming in as well. But today I want to look at a world without resellers. And I want to look at a few other topics as well, and some awesome statements I saw on social media, not about me, but about some other folks that kind of relate to that topic. And they want a treat, and we're going to pick the first item. I got a great question the other day, and I'm going to explore it today a little bit. I got to turn on this light back here, and I got to pick up this first little, tiny little Dooney item. I hate when there's not enough light in here, I'm sorry. There we go. So let's pick up this first one first, and we'll look at the question. It is a Dooney & Burke, a little tiny wallet, purse thing, wristlet, I don't know, wristlet, wallet, I don't know what you want to call it. But look, it's Mickey. And I learned from my buddy Rod, especially on Vera Bradley and stuff, sometimes you can look at the patterns. This one's obvious, but you can find that there's, you know, a Vera pattern that's got some little tiny Mickeys and stuff in it, and they definitely go for more money. But this one was an easy one to spot. It's almost like it's colored with crayon, but it's not. It's a pretty cool little Dooney & Burke piece, and that sold for it sold on discount, so it didn't go for as much as I initially thought, but still a really nice profit at $33.71 plus shipping on that. I can't remember exactly how much I paid for it, but I know it was probably no more than $5. All right, we'll use this question as a jumping off point for a lot of topics, plus we'll answer it, and they answer it here too. It's from Jay, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Jay Robles Art, I think is the question. Hi, CWF, Commonwealth Flipper. Usually people call me CWP for the Picker channel, but I'll take both. A thought just went through my head, and it would be a good topic for one of your videos. He thinks it'll be a good topic. What if all or a majority of resellers disappeared? So what would the world be like if there was no resellers? Now, first, you know, I'm talking about resellers in the narrow definition, not, you know, Walmart, because they're clearly a reseller. So let's just take our type of reselling out of the picture. How would things change? Now, they answer their own question. I'm going to go over theirs, but I want you to add to this as we're going through this video. And just remember, we're just talking about our type of reseller. This is we're not talking about Goodwill. We're not talking about, like I said, all the big box stores, you know, even, you know, Amazon itself, you could consider as a reseller, 2 tiers of it most of the time. We're talking about people who go to garage sales, go to thrift stores, go to other places, pick and resell items online. If that disappeared, and you might think, well, that'll never happen. Let me tell you, it's very possible someday that that could happen if we don't keep an eye on the folks we elect and put into office. Those kind of restrictions are kind of mind-blowing to us. However, things happen. I was a history teacher. When times get tough economically, the restrictions, price controls, all kinds of different stuff go in to protect the big boys, the big players most of the time. You know, those people who like to pad the pockets of the politicians to make sure they get that protection. Not always, but that happens. I can give you examples, but I don't want to bore you with history. Here's just one example right here, and I've talked about this kind of before. Imagine if you were a Disney collector, and you collect all this Disney stuff, and you want to get a Dooney & Burke Disney wallet, right? Disney collectors, my goodness, there's more merchandise out there for anything. But, you know, where are you going to find that if you want it? It would be next to impossible to find it if it were not for folks like us. Now, that's not, you know, the most amazing thing in the history of the world, but still, you wouldn't be able to find it. So an Apple iPod, there's another thing, you know, you think of these consumer products, and we definitely live in a consumer society, you would have no choice but to buy stuff new, you know, and that keeps a lot of people out of the marketplace. Some people just simply can't afford stuff. This is an old Apple iPod. I don't even know the numbers on it, but it's got everything. You can see it's clearly old. It may have songs on it. A lot of them, when they have songs on it, or a bunch of them, they go for more money. This one sold for $70. plus shipping. Just think of, you know, garage sales, thrift stores. Come on, y'all. I know you've been waiting. Come on. You know, I don't know if there'd be more or less of them, to be honest with you. I think, well, let me see what this guy says. And yes, I do know that garage sellers are actually resellers, right? So in a world that I'm talking about, maybe that would be restricted too. However, let's just see. I think this was his first comment, so I wanted to talk about it. We can conclude that garage sales might become more scarce since selling stuff would be slower. Meaning, selling at garage sales, I don't think people realize that how many people that come to garage sales are actually resellers. Now, I don't know. I think it depends on what type of garage sale, where it is, what time of year, you know, big neighborhood, small neighborhood, that kind of thing. I can tell you out in the country, you know, it's pretty hit and miss for people showing up as far as resellers, but the closer you get into the cities, you do see a ton. Because I see the exact same people every time, and I know they're resellers. So I don't know about that one. However, I can tell you that items, you know, the chances of you finding the item you're looking for, if you're looking for a particular thing at a garage sale, is slim and none. Yeah, it depends on what the item is. If it's a typical household item that there's 60 different types of, I suppose you could find it. But if you're looking for a specific thing, you're just simply not going to find it 99% of the time. I was scrolling on social media the other day and I saw somebody had an estate sale ad, I guess. I don't know, whatever you want to go post in Facebook. And they said, hey, I'm not, the exclamation point, I'll put it up on the screen here, exclamation points everywhere, resellers, I'm not selling it cheaper to you, or something like that. My dad bought this Catch-22 book, and it's old, and it's not in great shape, but he's like, I don't know, it might sell for something. I was like, yeah, I think it might. And it did, not too much. $13 and change for this one. What the heck did it sell for? $13.70 plus shipping on the Catch-22 book. I find it kind of funny. Would they sell, it says, I'm not selling cheaper for you, not for you resellers. Which, fine, whatever. People have the prerogative to do whatever they want. But, I mean, I would thank them for telling me that. I wouldn't waste my time coming to their estate sale, right? But what are they doing? Are they checking? Let me see your ID. Are you a reseller? Do you have a non-reseller ID at the door? I mean, it's so stupid, but whatever. I think they would be better served just saying my prices are firm, I'm not lowering them or something. Unless they will sell it cheaper to a non-reseller. I guess that's okay. It doesn't make any sense to me. If you're going to sell an item for $10 to a reseller or $10 to a non-reseller, what do you care? It doesn't make a difference. But I'll tell you what, this is why this video is being done here. You know, we get a beating as resellers all the time, but imagine a world without resellers. By the way, that book was plus shipping. Somebody posted the other day, I do a drinking game, and every time you say plus shipping, I drink. I said, don't drive after watching one of these shows. I don't know why that irritates some people. I say plus shipping for a reason, because there are some items occasionally that I sell that aren't plus shipping, and so I don't say it. So, anyway, sorry if I offend you. This is an item that's been in here for a while, I believe, unless we accidentally didn't list them. I don't know, but this was bought at, man, 2 years. It's been a long time, y'all. These pins, these Flintstones pins, they're really kind of awesome. They're like PVC pins, and they're kind of old. We made a bunch of money off of that Flintstones buyout down there at the Webster Flea Market, and these sold for $37.46 plus shipping. So let's look at these a little bit more, what Jay said here. And I also have to thank a viewer for a viewer sale. Let's see the next one. So the garage sales, okay, that's debatable. People would throw away or donate things more often since they would not sell as quickly. Well, if there's no resellers not selling it, they wouldn't sell at all. So would there be more donations? Yeah, absolutely. People wouldn't sell their own items. That leads to other ramifications, not just for the seller, but for buyers as well. But yeah, think about that, the donations. And then if there's no reselling like we're talking about, the donation centers would have to sell it locally like that, as opposed to selling online. And boy, they'd be overloaded. I think you'd see a lot more people in those thrift stores for sure if that was allowed and this kind of stuff wasn't allowed. What else do we got? The upturn in donations to thrift stores would cause them to tighten restrictions on what they would accept, causing those items to end up in landfills. Yeah, I would think so. Some rare items would become even more rare since people would throw them away. Yeah, less, you have no doubt about that. There would be items that would be chucked. There are items that are getting chucked right now that have value and people just don't perceive the value or have the value worth their time. Are you biting on something out there? Is that a cat? And what else? eBay would turn into more of a retailer like I think eBay'd go out of business, quite frankly, for sure. What else? Anything else you might think of? So they're throwing it on our court. Yeah, this has led me down a whole ton of paths. I'm going to bring a few other little things into this discussion that goes to the reseller side of it, the negative effect it would have on us. And not just on us, but on families and on all kinds of things going on out there around our lives. But yeah, it would be an interesting world. The prices of things would go up like I don't know. For certain things, the prices would go up. A lot of these people, I've said this before, a lot of these companies, they used to have these outlet stores, early 90s stuff before eBay and whatever, and they would send stuff to the outlets to get rid of them. They used to be out in the middle of the desert and stuff in California and all over the place to keep those consumers who were right there buying the high-priced items. It would be a huge boom for mega brands out there for sure. They would love something like this to happen. And it would be bad for almost everybody else. I am thanking Miriam for this buy here. If I can get him down without taking the whole thing down. I might not. I might have to get my ladder. See how you let them in and then they want out? They hear that cat. There's a cat outside that door. I'm not letting that cat in to be ambushed. All right, let's get this guy right here. A little pajama wearing vintage Mickey. And this one sold for $24.95, I believe, plus shipping. And it went to Miriam. Let me thank you, Miriam. Miriam says, thank you for everything. Everything I've ever purchased from you, I use to furnish my house. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy those as well. We appreciate the purchase. And I want you to chime in down below in the comments, maybe some things I'm not thinking of, but I just thought of one. I hope this is in here. It should be. It's the Seagate. Yeah, there it is right there. I just thought of one that maybe some people haven't thought of. This is a Seagate, a little external, what do they call these things? Backup plus portable hard drive. $59 plus shipping on that one, and that's probably at least $100 new, probably much more than that actually on that, but $59.95 plus shipping. So a lot of times us resellers, especially if we put the stuff out there on social media, and a lot of us do in some way, shape, or form, personal pages, postings on Instagram, whatever. I just happen to put it on YouTube for a lot of people to yell at me. But what we get criticized for is going to a garage sale and buying something for $10, selling it for $100. And, that's what they just, I don't know what it is about it. They just don't like it. But think about it. If there were no resellers like that, there were no marketplaces like eBay, would those items have that kind of value? They just wouldn't. Without the outlet, without the marketplace, that's what arbitrage is all about. They don't have that value. And so I think people get that kind of backwards in their mind. We're teaming with different marketplaces to not create demand, but to inspire demand for items. And that's part of it I think people don't get. If there wasn't those things, then garage sale items would be worth what people would pay at a garage sale, and that is it. They wouldn't have any other value if there was no outlet for them to sell it other than that sale. And I do realize I'm preaching to the choir, but you know what? Sometimes you got to preach to the choir a little bit. These are some gloves. I think it's this one, men's mediums. Might be these. Just put them in here, sold quickly. Oftentimes people will pass up things like this at the yard sale because they look at the value and it's like, yeah, it's $10. I don't really want to do it, whatever. I got to make sure this is the right one. Men's, hold on. I'm glad I looked. It was not the right one. This is the right one. These things can be expensive. Somebody would pay $50 for these right here. And, I could sell them one off, but they were doubles, and that's going to make it go quicker. Somebody's going to want a better deal because they get the combined shipping on it, and they're going to save $5, $6, $8, $10 on it, getting two instead of one. And that's why I picked these up for $1 a piece. I wouldn't have picked one up for $1 and sold it for 10. Well, maybe I would have. But this one sold for 20 bucks. So 2 into 20 plus shipping, super fast, super easy, and I'll make like $16 profit on that. But the other side, the flip side of this coin is I've gone to thousands of yard sales the last couple of years here, and this is the first time I've picked up brand new in the package golf gloves like that. So nobody's going to find that out there. and I just saved that person who bought that quite a bit of money. I'm sure Titleist, who makes those golf gloves, would love for them, none of them, to be available on the secondary market. And then their price might go up 10, 15, 20%, because what choice do you have? Although it brings other people into the marketplace as well, other competitors of Titleist making gloves. I mean, let's face it, y'all, the more and more you do this, if you've been doing it a while, you realize you're a personal shopper. You just don't know who you're shopping for most of the time. Although in live selling, I've started to figure out who I am shopping for, because the same people come back and buy over and over, so you go buy that stuff. This is a Damn It doll, y'all. We restocked on those. We did so good on them last year. They don't go for a lot of money, but this is an IRS Damn It doll. Yeah, I want to bang that thing every once in a while, too. Let's see here. $14.95 for this one. Oh, I know who y'all are. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me read a thank you to you. From the best stickers in the business. I don't know if I can find them. I might have put them back there. This is, they say, "Hi, Kevin. I'm literally buying the IRS Damn It doll right now. Couldn't resist. You and that shed full of wisdom inspired my hubby and me to jump into reselling." I did not know that, y'all. You guys are awesome. And now we're hooked like a yard sale on a Saturday morning. Appreciate all the laughs and lessons. Y'all lit the spark, and we're off and selling Ro and Sean, Bodega Finds and Ginger King. And they are also, although you haven't done a show in a while, I'd love to see you back on cards. It's growing. It's really fun, and you guys are awesome. You put on a good show over there on Debit Cards, which is, like I said, one of the ones that's growing really quickly, and we're having a lot of fun over there. If you want to come join us on Wednesdays over there, I'm not a card guy, and I have fun over there watching some of those shows and those breaks, and hope to see you guys back over there selling. Forgot to film a scrub top when I was coming in here, because I was on the phone with somebody, but that $11.99 plus shipping, and I sold a Coach bag. It might be this one. Let me dig for it. All right, took me a little while. It was not the one I was looking at. It's a little Coach satchel bag, and it doesn't look like much, y'all. But that one is a classic bag, and it sold pretty good. $74.25 plus shipping. All right, Reagan's going to practice today, so we figured we'd film early today. And this is, you're on a streak, Commonwealth Picker stickers. Who bought this one?
Matthew, and he did get a Commonwealth Picker sticker.
That's right. And you know what we also sold? It was just crazy, y'all. Actually, it's not here. They're over here. We sold one of these on Whatnot. Can you believe that? I don't even sell on Whatnot anymore, but we still have our merch over there, and every once in a while somebody buys them, and I don't know who bought it, so I can't thank you. I didn't look it up, but Reagan will get the money for that too, so thank you.
And don't forget to get your stickers at CommonwealthPicker.com.
All right, I want to bring this one into the equation here to add a layer to this. This I was on, I think this was on Rally Root's Instagram, and they said... Moo something says, "I swear, if people just got a real good paying skilled job, they wouldn't have to do dumb crap like this," talking about reselling. Talking to resellers. Like, dude, go to school, learn a trade, learn a business and a hustle. People will do anything but invest in themselves to get a real job. Oh, man, what an ignorant statement. Just my opinion. You know, I know a ton of folks who are very intelligent who never went and got a degree. Which is fine. The guy's not even saying just get a degree, you know, learn a skill, whatever. This is a skill, y'all. This is a skill. Not just anybody can do it. There is a low entry level, which I like. I don't like the idea of putting burdens and barriers in front of people to do jobs that don't really need those. I mean, look, if you're going to be a brain surgeon, you know, it ought to be a gauntlet to get through it, right? I get that. But I'll be honest with you. I was a teacher for a long time. I honestly think I would have been as good of a teacher if I didn't even go to the teaching part of my education. I really, really think that. Now, is that always the case? No, I don't think it is. But I think that those kind of barriers are breaking down. These kind of jobs aren't even always your career job. Sometimes they're an outlet to your career job. Sometimes your career job just doesn't pay enough money for you to do the things you want to do for your family, with your family, to experience in life. And that part of it too, a world without resellers, that's one extra side hustle that people can't get into that would keep them restricted to the ordinary life that you got to live with a punch clock or whatever it is. So there's other ramifications, not just to the mass populace out there who do want things at a cheaper price, or they collect or whatever. There's a big detriment to the populace as a whole when you restrict, if it were to be restricted, you know, their ability to work for themselves, to be creative, to enjoy something. That is part of it too. And the big beneficiary of all these would be these big corporations. There's no doubt about that. Turner's got some Commonwealth comedy other than his t-shirt there. That's kind of a joke. I'm just teasing. All right. Is he going to be good this year? Who's their quarterback?
Cam Ward.
Cam Ward. Is he going to be the starter?
Yeah.
Okay. Are they going to win? How many games are they going to win?
7.
So, ooh, he wants to say 9, y'all. He wants to, but he didn't want to be wrong. All right, what do you got?
What do you call a lazy kangaroo?
What do you call a lazy kangaroo? Marlon and Poncho. I don't know what.
A pouch potato.
I love it. Thank you.
Bye.
Also sold an Animan over there on Divved It to Doc Wheeler. So thank you. I don't want to, well, maybe I will just take this one. And we always throw in the stickers. We are auctioning them off on eBay and on Divved It. And so they're a little bit cheaper over on Divved It, but not much. So maybe go check one of those auctions out if you're interested in one. And that is it, y'all. That is it right there. So we're doing it slowly, so I keep those around. And by the way, I don't have anything against big corporations. I don't have anything whatsoever against any of these corporations. Big or small. Hell, I'm an LLC, for goodness sake. Jeez. Any rate, it's just part of everything that fits together that I don't ever want to lose. And I don't understand the attacks on folks like us who want to do things for ourselves, for our families, and enjoy the heck out of what we're doing. I just think that it's insanity. And so to imagine a world without resellers sometimes might get people, I guarantee a lot of these people who leave these comments, they go on and they buy things. They might go buy things at a collector's shop, or they might go get a vintage item for somebody for a Christmas gift. I think they would change their mind a little bit if all of a sudden all resellers were gone. And I think a lot of people who resell at garage sales, flea markets and stuff like that, who might say they don't like resellers, if they realized what kind of business they were losing, thrift stores, listen up, I think they might think differently. Because, you know, a lot of these big companies, they obviously make things and then they stop making them because the demand goes down. The demand comes back later, and older items, here you go. I think, speaking of Divved It earlier, I think I bought these as part of a big lot over there on Divved It, and I make some decent money over there, y'all. That's a different video, but I could make that video. I honestly think I could source from live sales and make a living. I'm at that point. Now, it's not as fun for me, but I think I could do it. I mean, just over there watching these shows, I'll buy something for me, and then I think the next item, maybe I'll just comment on that one. These sold for almost 25 bucks, $24.90 plus shipping. I'm probably into them for $2 a piece after shipping because I buy multiples over there and combine all the shipping. Pretty good one right there. Another reason to come and join us, even if you don't plan on reselling. Man, I'm telling you, the opportunities in buying from live sales is just growing and growing and growing. Cameras is a good example over on Shop Commons. I'm not a camera guy necessarily. Sometimes it's just easier to get rid of a bunch in bulk. I didn't buy this over there, but I paid $1 for this one. The Yashica, thought I could get more for it, but it doesn't have a battery in it, and I don't think we fully tested it, but it's in good shape. Probably should have done that. $14.21 plus shipping, so still a profit. Some of the hate that comes towards us is just, it's just stupid hypocrisy, to be perfectly honest with you. Here, this is the item I was talking about. And I am going to show you one more comment along those lines here in a second, just to round out this conversation, but I want you to chime in. This I bought over on Divved It Threads, part of a big bunch of stuff. When I buy one thing, I buy like 6. I bought a couple things for myself, including this shirt I'm wearing today. And I was like, well, how do I figure out a way to pay for this shirt and to make some profit off some other stuff? Because I already bought one item. And this came up, I think I paid $5? I can't remember. It was pretty cheap, but I'm like, okay, I think I can get 20 out of this. You know, I'm only paying an extra $1 shipping, so probably $5 total into it. You know, what does that mean? That means I'm going to make $10 on it, which paid for this shirt and all the other stuff I bought. But this is an example right here. It's Columbia brand new, so for 19 plus shipping like in a day. Next item I'm going to pull, I'm going to go grab it inside, is a perfect example of where the heck would you buy this. Hey, I think this might have come from Rad Picker. By the way, I got to put your sticker up. Thanks for sending it, bud. Now that I think about it, I might have got that off of Pinjo Picker over there. At any rate, I'm sure I'll use it a lot more in the winter time, but this, I hope it's the right one. JVC time lapse. As I sat it down, I was like, I don't think that's the right one, and now I look and it's not the right one. Normally VCRs go inside, but this is one of the very small top-loading ones. And I was hoping this one would go for big bucks. If they're tested working. This one has no cords. It had to be sold as is. You know, a lot of times older VCRs, like that's what I saw when I put that JVC one down there. That's listed for a decent amount of money. Hadn't sold for a while. But, I mean, come on. You're not going to find it. I don't know who wants it, but you're not going to find it out there. Unless I found it, or somebody did. This might have come from Death Pile. But that's a cool little old top-loading VCR. Takes you way back. And unfortunately, we had to sell it for $24 plus shipping because we can't test the darn thing. But I'll take it. The next one kind of reminds me of another topic that relates to this. And that's a lot of these big companies see what's going on in the reselling market, and then they begin to produce new items like that. That happened in the t-shirt market. I've seen those shark tooth hats, for instance, be reproduced, re-popped out. And that happens all the time, and I've seen it now with cameras. I don't think we're ever going to see it with VCRs like we did with, say, record players, where the new production comes out based on what is selling in the reselling secondary markets. I mean, look at Walmart, for goodness sake, putting out those vintage 80s tees and all the other stuff, and it has hurt the reselling market a little bit too. So, you know, if the big boys can hurt us, you know, I don't think our little businesses are going to hurt them too much. This one did not sell very well. I don't know if it was because of different cameras inside or what, I can't remember, but I bought it thinking, dang, that's going to be good. $18.71 for that one. I don't think that's what's in there. So something's wrong with it or something, because it should go for more than that. But anyway, I don't really want to look. It's sold. And I'll be honest with you, I buy all the time on eBay. I buy stuff because it's cheaper. And I wouldn't want that to go away as a consumer, regardless of the fact that I'm actually a seller. I'm hoping it's in here. It's this hand-tooled wallet. It's got to be in one of these. There it is right there. And these are kind of cool. Check it out. Remember those when you were a kid? A bifold wallet. Nothing amazing, but it sold quickly. $14.20 plus shipping. And this is kind of another example, not necessarily reproducing the same exact stuff, but in different ways where you can get, you know, the old video games, but you can buy them all in one lot and put them on one disc or stream it or do whatever. And that's what this is. But some people just like the old stuff. Tetris. And it doesn't sell like it used to, y'all. Some of this stuff doesn't go quite as much. I'd say it's going to be about 20% cheaper than you saw a couple years ago. But still, a lot of them do go for a ton of money. These just don't. $12 for that one, plus shipping. Next item's from 1994, the Shadow. And that one, that's kind of cool. That one's sold KB Toy tag up there. Sold for $20 plus shipping. Sold a pair of shoes. You know, I love to get rid of shoes because I don't love selling them. These happen to be a pair of soccer shoes, I believe. I bought these a long time ago, y'all. Long time ago. Unless I bought a second pair like years ago. That's how bad I am at selling shoes. $33.20 plus shipping. And this next one kind of ties into the story too. You may remember, if you go back a long time, that I got a message from New Era that said it was like a cease and desist. Stop selling New Era items. You're not an authorized dealer. And I'm like, well, I'm going to ignore this message. They all got taken down off of my Bonanza store. I'm like, that's ridiculous. I own it. I can sell it. And I made a big point of it. That's the kind of garbage that if that kind of mentality took hold, then you really truly never own anything. I understand you can't sell this because it's fake, although I think there ought to be some steps in place, because there's a lot of folks that sell things that are real that get accused of being fakes and being taken down. That's a tough one, though. I mean, you got to be able to protect your own intellectual property and copyrights and all that stuff. That's just the wind. I thought it was pepper. But they literally took down every New Era hat that I had. I'm looking for NFL right here. Over on Bonanza. I'm like, huh. Every single one that I have. Dozens and dozens. They're all fake, and I bought them from all different places. Interesting. Let's see if I can find this one. It is a 5950 Raiders Super Bowl hat. It was it you, or did you just take advantage of that? I bought this at the flea market, which you might think, oh, well, it might be fake. Pepper wants some food. But it wasn't that. There literally were, I had tons and tons of New Era hats. I bought them all different places, and they weren't, you know, I'm pretty good at picking out New Era fakes. They're not that hard. The New Era fakes are pretty bad, actually. And so that one actually sold for pretty good money. Sold for $30 plus shipping. Pepper has to go outside to get her treats. because she makes a mess in here. She knocks stuff over. We rearranged it there to make her life a little harder. Although now I got to put something back up there because that Mickey Mouse is gone. Alright, y'all, I am going to keep this ball rolling and get back out there to that shed, get some more listings up. I'm going to take a little time off here in a few days, few weeks. I don't know what I'm taking. I just do what my wife tells me to do. And so I want to make sure we have plenty in draft so that when I do, we can keep that store open. Jess said she would come and help us out a little bit and do the shipping while we are gone. That's kind of cool. My folks will be back in town, take care of the dogs. Maybe they'll stay here, I'm not sure. But we got a lot of work in front. Whenever you take a vacation doing this kind of job, you know, you got to make sure you're prepping in advance. Plus, hey, that reminds me, leave some questions in the comments over the next few videos, because we'll be doing at least one Q&A video on the road and showing what's selling back at the Commonwealth cabin. Thank you all for joining us. I can't wait to see you next time.